Before anyone profits off of your information, make them get your permission in writing. Don't let people make money off of you when you're not eating at the same table. Alright guys, today we're going to talk about some privacy laws. We're going to talk about the GLB, my favorite. That's the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act. And why this matters. You're not being judged based off of your character. You're being judged based off of your credit report. You're being screened, sold, audited, and all these different things by companies you've never even heard of. So I decided that I wanted to shed some light in it. I think it's important that the price of eggs is $6, and somebody's making money off of you. Don't you want to make money? Especially, don't you want them to at least not be able to hinder you? That's kind of my thought, so that's why I'm sharing this video with you. So financial institutions, insurers, and government programs use banking habits, spending patterns, and loan history and demographic data through data sharing loopholes. You can stop it. You can legally shut down these unauthorized sharing of information. We're not going to be going over anything illegal. We're going to go over the law. They say if you don't want a person to know it, put it in a book. So it's in a book. I found it and now I'm sharing it and putting it in a video because I want all the people to know. So Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, that is 15 USC 6802. So 15 USC 6802. Now you are welcome to Google it yourself. I already took the liberty of Googling it and I'm going to read it for you guys. So a financial institution may not disclose non-public information to a non-affiliate third party unless three things are met. So let's break down that sentence. What is a financial institution? Bank, anybody sending money, selling money, stuff like that. What is a non-public personal information? Your personal information that's not to the public. It's not rocket science, but it's not to the public. So like your account numbers, your social, all those different things, your loan details, things like that are non-public information. Like you have to, stuff that if I call the bank on your behalf and say, hey, tell me John Smith's account number. Your name isn't John Smith. Sorry, we can't tell you shit. Non-public information. To a non-affiliated third party. So non-affiliated third party means is there ownership with among those companies? I want to say maybe like some years ago there was this phone company called Singular Wireless, and I think that they were bought out by T-Mobile, something like that. And I might be wrong on my facts, but the point is because they got bought out and because there was a merger or some sort, they were affiliated, so they can share information back and forth. But let's say Bank of America as an example, and Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion, that financial institution and the non-affiliated third parties are not related. You get what I'm saying? So that would be a non-affiliated third party. Now, you're probably saying, but Carlos, my information is being shared. Yes, absolutely, your information is being shared. So let's continue reading. Financial institution may not disclose your personal information to a non-affiliated third party unless three things are met. So such financial institutions clearly and conspicuously discloses to the consumer in writing or in electronic form or other form permitted by the regulations prescribed under section 6804 of this title that such information may be disclosed to a third party. Okay, in a nutshell, you go buy a car. As you go buy a car, you're like, okay, they have you sign this paper, and the paper say, okay, we're going to report this to your credit. That is what that's saying. If you go get a credit card, hey, we're going to report this to your credit. I get that. But most people, B and C get a little bit sketchy. Now, I don't want to use the term sketchy. B and C, I don't really hear too much about. So let's go over that. B, the consumer is given the opportunity before the time that such information is initially disclosed to direct such information may not be disclosed to such third party. CFPB. So you're given the opportunity before that information is put on your credit to direct that information not be put on your credit in a nutshell, or not be shared with a third party. So you can say, hey, I don't want my information shared for whatever reasons. And then there's an and, so we're going to go over C. The consumer is given an explanation of how the consumer can exercise that non-disclosure option. I know when I bought my cars, I wasn't given that explanation. I think I was just told, hey, we'll just put this on your credit. So that's the breakdown of the law, and now let's continue. What is protected? Your non-public information, such as account balances, transaction history, loan details, credit applications. And that's what I covered before. So let's say you want to submit a GLB opt-out request. You say in a nutshell, this is a formal request under 15 U.S.C. 6802 of the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act. I am exercising my right to opt out of any sharing of my non-public information with non-affiliated third parties. Please confirm this request in writing and provide documentations that my file has been flagged as opted out. You send all this to your financial institutions, banks, credit unions, lenders, loan servicers, and insurance providers. And this is if you don't want your information on there. Whether it's good, bad, anything like that, I'm not here to judge. But it's up to you. I'm just giving you that power to know this law, 15 U.S.C. 6802, is what protects you when it comes to your non-affiliated, when it comes to your non-public information, sharing with non-affiliated third parties. Next, every institution must give you a way to opt out. If they don't, that's a violation of GLBA. Think about that. Let that sink in. And then you want to keep proof of delivery. You can use certified mail or fax confirmation. I like to use the CFPB. They're simple. CFPB, in case you guys don't know, CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Who are they? What do they do in a nutshell? They are a government regulatory agency that gets on these financial institutions' butt, for lack of better terms. That's what they do. I like to look at it like this. You know how, like, when you're talking to your teacher and you're trying to get something done, but you're just not a high priority. But then when you CC the principal, or if it's at work or whatever, you CC their supervisor, then they tend to move a little bit faster. They tend to take you a little more serious. They tend to be like, okay, I'm going to actually see what this guy is talking about, because I have to, because that's my butt on the line. That's who the CFPB is. You can send a letter. You can just have a little letter, have your name, date, and send it to that institution and say, hey, I am, based off of this law, 15 U.S.C. 6802, I want my information to not be shared. You see, there wasn't an answer, because I don't have to say that. I just don't want to share. Step 2, you want to opt out of affiliate sharing. Some companies share your data with affiliates unless you block it under FCRA 1681-S-3. You can stop internal affiliate marketing by blocking the sharing between related companies under the same corporate umbrella. And then you can also demand written confirmation, request documentation that your opt-out status has been recorded. Thing that's baffling to me is this. These companies you have never heard of. I have several companies. If I want your business, for the most part, I have to get your consent to do business with you. I haven't consented to these companies. I haven't consented to them just talking about me. You know what I mean? But you got to be grateful to be an American citizen, because you have the ability to, opt out. So whatever your situation is, whatever you got going on, I'd recommend opting out. But let's go over this law. FCRA 1681-S-3. 1681. 1681. S3. 1681 S-3. Alright. I don't have this stuff memorized. Why? Why would I? So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to read. I'm going to Google it and I'm going to read and see what it says. I'm using Cornell Law Institute, in case you guys were wondering. So now we have for FCRA 1681 S-3, you can stop internal affiliate marketing. You can block sharing between related companies under the same corporate umbrella. You can demand written confirmation. You can request documentation that your opt-out has been received and flagged. Now, what does that mean and why would I want to stop information between affiliate, companies? Glad you asked. I got it for you. So, if a company shares eligibility information like a consumer's credit worthiness, income, etc., with an affiliate, the affiliate cannot use that information to make solicitations unless the consumer is notified, the consumer is given reasonable opportunities to opt out, and the consumer does not opt out. Next, what is eligibility information? Eligibility information includes things like credit scores, income levels, transaction history, account balances. Now you're probably like, okay, there's a lot going on. But think about it. All your information is getting shared. And how often do we hear, oh, there was a data breach. Oh, so-and-so lost some information. Have you had identity theft? All these different things. So this is Congress just taking some necessary precautions to make sure you as the consumer are in control of your life. But to go over that law, just so we know, any person that receives from another person or related to by its common ownership or affiliated by corporate control, a communication of information that would be a consumer report. But for clauses 1, 2, and 3, section 1681 AD2A of this title, may not use this information to make a solicitation for marketing purposes to a consumer about its products or services. It almost seems like they make it complex on purpose. But that was the law, and I read the breakdown for you. So now you got it. But in a nutshell, you can stop your information from being shared amongst companies, like amongst the same umbrella. Who uses your financial information? Programs like HUD, Social Security, IRS, DHS, and state-level welfare offices contract with data brokers who collect and sell your information. They sell your information. The ones who collect and sell your information: LexisNexis, SageStream, Accurate, Clarity Services, Innovis, and CoreLogic. And that's just to name some of them. There's more. But these companies are making money off of you. There are these companies, they'll ask these companies, hey, should we give John a new apartment? Should we give John a new car? They'll ask them. And it's just like, we should be able to shut them down. And we can. You can reach out to them and you can just say, hey, I want to opt out. Never heard of you, don't trust you, don't want you in my business. Everyone you can Google, but for CoreLogic, you want to go to teletrack.com. Everyone else is pretty much the same when you Google them. Now next, you want to dispute incorrect errors. Gather documentation. What you want to, when you dispute, what you want to include: your driver's license, a second form of ID, proof of address, and a written, letter of the error. Because many times they get stuff wrong. Many times if there's two people in the same house with the same name, we got it wrong. And them getting it wrong should not affect you. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. So next, you want to state your legal basis, specify why the information should be removed. Unverifiable information, inaccurate information, or obsolete information. Next, you want to submit your opt-out statement. Pursuant to the Fair Credit Reporting Act and the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, I am requesting to opt out of the sharing, sale, or disclosure of my non-public information and consumer data. And complete the checklist to lock down your data. You get your GLBA opt-out letter, which I have used that to take off several repos, just so you know. I've had people with repos, here, try this, gone. That's what I like. And the thing about it is in the event that that these companies break the law, what happens when they break the law? There's money in your pocket. Run me that bag. Give me that money. That's how that works. All right, guys, I hope this helps. I hope this helps shed light that you're not hopeless. I hope if you got a repo or anything that you want to get off your credit that's not really working for you, this GLB law works like a dream. It still works. I keep it locked and loaded, ready to rock. So, as always, be blessed.